I like exploration and adventure. I like delving into new lands, wandering the uncharted territories, and finding new things. That's why fantasy adventure series tend to be something I enjoy regardless of the quality. So when it comes to the Unwanted Undead Adventurer, it lands in that unique slot where it has a good shot to succeed with me. Now, I've been a fan of this series since I picked up the light novels a few years back. That inherently makes me biased towards this show because I've been looking forward to it. So for those of you who don't know, this story follows Rent Fina as he chases his dream of becoming a mithril class adventurer. However, he has little quality to make him a great adventurer other than his dedication, and has spent almost 10 years of his life close to the bottom of the ladder. However, an interesting turn of events leads him to find a new room within a dungeon, only to get eaten by a dragon and wake up as a reanimated skeleton. And by attacking and slaying other monsters, he's able to make himself stronger by absorbing their essence, which finally gives him the thing he needs to reach for his dreams. Right out the gate, I find myself loving the mystery of the world. You're not given a ton of information to work on, and nothing is confirmed. I find myself enjoying stories with massive information gaps and large mysteries to puzzle out. And this certainly has that, with the nature of Rent's condition, the mysterious woman in the dungeon, and the very nature of the dungeons themselves. It presents an interesting world story. That said, it's not the most enthralling thing. Rather, it's more the level of intrigue where you just want to see where it all goes. But it's good enough to keep it going. Plus, the characters are somewhat unique to the point that I actually like them. The two major ones are Rent, obviously, and Lorraine. Rent is a very thoughtful and studious person. He's prone to constantly trying to understand things and improve his skills. His dedication and care earn him a reputation as a reliable adventurer, and the fact that he acts as a mentor to rookies is another good thing about him. He's like this tame mentor figure who's always guiding people down the right path. He's also not entirely naive in his friendliness, but is still willing to help people out for the sake of it. And that means he has good relationships with a lot of people around him. Lorraine, on the other hand, is a bit of a mad scientist. She's highly intelligent and highly focused, caring little about what other people think or even about relationships outside of Rent. She's relatively unfazed when she discovers Rent's condition and proves to be a good ally when he's in need. She's a good friend to have, but becoming acquainted with her is a challenge all of its own, because she's so focused on her research that she has little need for interpersonal relationships outside of maybe needing Rent to care for her at times. The dynamic between these two is kind of one of my favorite things about the series. It's like they're married without actually being married, and the way they behave around each other and how they work together shows the signs of something more, but it's clear that neither of them really wants to acknowledge it at this point. I mean, one of them's undead and the other is still trying to figure out how she feels. They're fairly tame characters in most regards. It's not like they're overly comedic, tragic, or edgy, they're just normal. Which I attribute as one of the charms of this series, the fact that it feels like a backyard adventure sometimes. I find the powers in this world are fairly basic. It's a standard magic system that actually bothers to give these spells some proper sounding names, with mages being able to learn all sorts of spells outside of just standard elemental ones. In addition to mana, there's spirits and divinity, which are two other energy forms that have their own effects, and Rent happens to be capable of using all three. A very rare talent, but his reserves are minuscule. This makes it satisfying to watch him improve over time. As he grows stronger due to his unique situation, he's able to take on more and more dangerous tasks, but none of them are ever a huge, ridiculous leap. And it comes off as much more of a tame progression than you would normally experience. It's all done with steady progress, an entirely in-character thing considering how Rent is already structured. And that leads me to the start of my complaints. The Unwanted Undead Adventurer can be very slow at times. I'd say that's its biggest weakness. The novels are very internal dialogue heavy, as Rent explains things in first person to the reader as if you were reading from his journal. And this translates into lengthy explanations of things at times in the anime. A lot of minor functions of the world are almost meticulously thought out to the point of being overanalyzed, it feels like. It means that sometimes it feels like not a lot happens. Plus, the combat in the series has been largely just okay. I've not seen anything that really screams lazy or bad, but it doesn't impress me either. So your reward for sitting through these slower parts of the series isn't all that spectacular. That said, it's the kind of thing you could throw on just because you can. So overall, I would say it's just a pleasant little adventure series. Nothing incredibly special, but still enjoyable. I give it a 7 out of 10. Obviously, the slow nature of it and the lack of enthralling action is a negative, but it otherwise handles the story and such with competence. It opts for slowly building the world around it and making something over the long term rather than just blowing the lid off of everything and running from there. But that's about all out of me. So if you like this video, please consider hitting those like and subscribe buttons because those simple but free actions do really help me. And if you have thoughts of your own, feel free to put them down in the comments. I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Later.